Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about slick shearing steers for most of your major shows in Texas, with the exception of the Fort Worth Stock Show, and most of the local and county fairs as well have gone to a slick shearing show. Slick shearing dates back to the early 90s in Texas, where several of your major stock shows came together and decided that that may be more of an opportunity for to present the cattle and somewhat of a more fair competitive advantage. But then also there were some issues with dealing with power and some other things at some of these stock shows. So they just felt like that we could try the slick shearing option. And so essentially when you shear one, what you see is what you get with that. I think what has evolved over time and what we see with the slick shearing shows now, there is more competitive, and it takes more homework at home to get those cattle presented. And again, it comes down to kids that spend the time and the effort on the cattle are rewarded with the quality of the project that is presented. And I think at the end of the day, that's what any of these shows are about, is showing what kind of work ethic and those types of things. Surely when you shear them down to less than a 1/4 inch of hair, you're going to see the animal. And over time, just some of the history with that, the first couple of years when we sheared these things off, they were pretty hard to look at just because of the type and kind of cattle. They were bred with hair in mind. And with that, the breeders had to really step up and do some changes. And so over time, what you saw is those cattle that were being bred for slick sheared probably had just more shape and dimension in their hip. They had more shape down their top and more muscle expression. And at the same time, they were bred to have more rib shape and more depth in their flank, and they were cleaner in their chest floor as well. And so with that, again, when you take the hair off, you really got to balance those cattle out and just show the shape and dimension with that. So that's a little bit of the history behind it. At the end of the day, slick shearing is not very difficult. It does take a lot of time to get one done, but with just a little bit of technique, any individual with a good sharp pair of clippers can go in and shear their calf with a little bit of hair and hide care, and can make one look as good as just about anybody else in the barn. But it does take a little bit of technique as far as just the detail to make sure you get them sheared off smooth, condition their hair to make them look good. But again, it doesn't take a lot of practice to do it. And actually, it's good for the younger kids to be able to go in and do it. My sons, we've tried to work with them and letting them do their own calves with the help of myself. And the reason we do is because, one, it's their project, and two, they begin to pick up some clipper skills as well and learn how to handle those clippers so that they can, when they want to start clipping for haired shows, there's some opportunities that they can learn from there as well.